All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about today's slump in crypto prices. And as you can see here, I got GDAX pulled up, and we were at a high, the shadow high of 97.54, the average, I suppose, of 96.93. And during the night, we went all the way down to 8,600, so about a loss of just about $1,000 overnight, but it is climbing back upwards. And as you can see in the coin market cap, just about everything is in the red. We have a few randoms that are up, but for the most part everything is down today. And what I can attribute that to is the fact of rising prices. Quickly rising prices always comes to a quickly lowering prices, but it's usually just very short term. So this height here, everybody was just willing to sell off at the moment and wait for a slightly lower price. It's just the way it goes. Sure, we have accelerating prices recently in the past 2 weeks, but there's always going to be these little dips all the way along till our all-time high, whenever that is, likely in December. So this is not unusual. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. All these coins are lit, according to JR Garage. I always love to quote that because it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So after 2 weeks of gains, markets are down across the board. Bitcoin is below 9,000. And you can see here, Coin 360, all red. There's a few. It looks like we have EOS. Tether is up for some insane reason, even though it's always supposed to be $1. The great mystery. Everything is down. Looks like Tron is up a little bit there. For the most part, everything down. Bitcoin is currently trading around 88.48 after reaching 97.08 at one point earlier today. Now down around 5% over a 24-hour press time. A little bit lower than what this article states here. Ethereum is back down below 700, trading at around 607 at the press time, down around 12% at a 24-hour period. Take a look at Ethereum here. And let's see what we were at. We were at 709 indeed, and we actually went below 600 for a short period of time there. And of the top 10 coins of CoinMarketCap, only EOS is up between 0 and 1% over a 24-hour period and trading around 1407. EOS has seen a rise in price since April 6th, announcement of the pre-release of the blockchain scalability platform. And so IOTA is down the most, around 17% over a 24-hour period, trading around $1.79. To press time. Bitcoin Cash, which had seen around a 100% increase this week, is now down around 15% over a 24-hour period. So everything is pretty far down, and baby screaming in the background. He loves watching movies. You know, whenever he's watching a movie, he gets excited. I'd put new money into Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Cash, says Tom Lee. Haha. Of course, I'm going to read this article because Bitcoin Cash. Fundstrat Global Advisor co-founder Tom Lee told Mainstream Media he would favor buying Bitcoin over Bitcoin Cash as markets cement a second week of straight gains. Speaking CNBC, Lee, who is well known for his bullish stance on Bitcoin, said that although he was averse to taking sides, he would rather put new money into Bitcoin than the altcoin alternative. I think both have merits, he explained to the network's Fast Money segment, but if I were putting new money to work today, a fresh dollar, I would be a lot more interested in buying a laggard that could attract inflows as opposed to something that's already potentially overbought. Lee's statement comes amidst an ongoing war of words between BTC and B-Trash proponents as Bitcoin US dollar fell around 2.4% Wednesday. Bitcoin Cash fared much worse, losing almost 17% in the same 24-hour period. Someone asked why BCH had managed to gain considerably in previous days. Lee considered its upcoming network hard fork as part of motivator for money flowing in. Host Brian Kelly also recently spoke about investing in the asset. He also added that it had something to do with market sentiment improving. Lee's Fundstrat nonetheless continues to present a strong Bitcoin-centric case this week. Survey of various financial players reveal over 80% believing the price slump of Q1 was over. So Bitcoin dominance falls sharply as altcoin cycle takes hold sooner than predicted. So since reaching a several-month high of around 45.5% at the end of March, the Bitcoin dominance figure has fallen sharply to a recent low of 37.1% of today. It would appear the alt cycle is once again in full swing, as a majority of top 20 coins have surged anywhere from 20 to 95% in the last 7 days. However, the decline in Bitcoin dominance and the beginning of the altcoin cycle phase has come a lot sooner than many predicted. So this article is basically talking about how altcoins go up and down more than Bitcoin does. So, I mean, which makes sense because the difference between an altcoin going from $1 to $10 is only $9, whereas Bitcoin going from 10,000 to 20,000 is 20,000. So, you know, or Bitcoin going from 10,000 to 100,000 is the same percentage increase, but it takes a lot more money to do that. So what is the difference about this Bitcoin altcoin cycle reversal? At the beginning of March, it was published an article during the Bitcoin phase of the cycle, predicting dominance to rise to 50 to 60%. This seemed like a reasonable estimate at the time based off projections that the Bitcoin dominance peak has been falling with each new cycle. Additionally, the past two Bitcoin cycles lasted roughly 6 months before the altcoins began to rally. To contrast the Bitcoin phase, we have just emerged from the last lasted just 2.5 months. Oh my God, that's worded all weird. But what might this tell us about the future cycles? Firstly, as the Bitcoin dominance figure peaked a lot, however, than expected at just 45.5%, we might also expect to reach record lows during this alt cycle, given it bottomed out around 32.5% last time. 25% or lower does not seem out of the question. Secondly, we are expecting this phase to be shorter. The cyclical nature of markets is nothing new and occurs across many asset classes. In order to profit from these events, it is important to both be able to identify them and react accordingly through portfolio adjustments. Now, this doesn't mean selling all your Bitcoin for fiat when dominance is falling, but rather moving a percentage of your Bitcoin into alts. So when these alts are high, Bitcoin essentially becomes cheaper relative to altcoins. So when alts growth has plateaued relative to Bitcoin, and the cycle looks to be coming to an end, you should contemplate adjusting your portfolio to contain a higher proportion of Bitcoin. Now, when Bitcoin phase starts again, Bitcoin will be outperforming the market, and your portfolio will be setting up to benefit from this. Similarly, when Bitcoin growth peaks, alts will be relatively cheap, and it is time to adjust again for the alt phase to begin. Consider the diagram below as an example of potential portfolio proportions and how they might adjust during cycles. So you have a little bit of Bitcoin, quite a bit of Ethereum, Monero, Ripple, Icon, Steam, Lisk in there. So all that stuff. And then the Bitcoin phase, you have 50% Bitcoin and then just like 15% Ethereum. So an interesting article indeed. Nasdaq is open to become a cryptocurrency exchange, CEO says. Once the space matures, Nasdaq is open to becoming a platform for trading cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, according to the company's CEO. Certainly, Nasdaq would consider becoming a crypto exchange over time. Nasdaq CEO Adena Friedman told CNBC's Squawk Box Wednesday, "If we do not look at it and say it's time, people are ready for a more regulated market, for something that provides a fair experience for investors. A key roadblock for the Nasdaq and other institutional investors is regulation, which Friedman said needs to be ironed out before the company would add an exchange." But she was bullish on the future of digital assets. "I believe that digital currencies will continue to persist. It's just a matter of how long it will take for that space to mature. Once you look at it and say, do we want to provide a regulated market for this? Certainly Nasdaq would consider it. In the meantime, the Nasdaq is supporting existing crypto exchanges. On Wednesday, the company announced a collaboration with crypto exchange Gemini, founded by early Bitcoin investors Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. The deal gives Gemini access to Nasdaq surveillance technology to help make sure the platform provides a fair and rules-based marketplace for their own participants. So while Friedman was optimistic about the future of cryptocurrency, she was less so on the fundraising process known as the initial coin offering. ICOs need to be regulated, she said. I kind of agree. The SEC is right that those are securities and need to be regulated as such. The U.S. Security and Exchange Commission has cracked down on ICO fraud in 2018, said March. It is looking to apply securities laws to everything from cryptocurrency exchanges to digital asset storage companies known as wallets. Chairman Jay Clayton said the watchdog is devoting a significant portion of resources to the ICO market. The more than 1,300% rise of Bitcoin prices last year certainly caught the attention of regulators. Bitcoin neared 20,000 in December before having its worst quarter in history, dropping 48% in the first 3 months of the year. The cryptocurrencies recovered above 9,000 this week and hit a high of 97.46, according to CoinDesk. So the digital currency is up roughly 20% this week. So If Nasdaq gets in it, that's going to be a price increase for sure. Back to this article. So it does make a lot of sense, but you know, if you don't want to get too far into it, you really should have a portfolio of probably the top 20 coins, even if you don't really like the coins. Even if you don't really, you know, care for the coins that much, you know, even BCH maybe. I don't know, maybe not with BCH. But with Ripple and things like that, you know, even if you don't like Ripple, you know, it does go up in value quite significantly. So if you could own a, you know, a portion of all of those coins, of those top 20 coins, maybe put $100 into every coin. Have the most of Bitcoin, the most Ethereum, you know, the most Ripple, Litecoin, you know, all the way down. But you know, with the 10 to 20 coins, or maybe even the fifth place to 20th, maybe $100 in each one, it's not too bad of an idea. If all of those coins, excuse me, if all of those coins double in price throughout the year, or even triple, you just turn that $100 for every coin into $200 or $300, and that is not too bad. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys next time.